She is already on her knees when the gates open. Heat presses down from the bare, merciless sky above the Hippodrome of Constantinople. The midday sun offers no shade, no mercy, no softness. It feels as if the heavens themselves have turned into a sheet of hammered bronze, glowing hot, punishing everything beneath it. Even the air seems too bright. All around Helena the stone seats rise like a grey mountain alive with bodies. 50,000 people fill those seats. Voices stacked on voices, movement stacked on movement. Some sit, some stand, some climb onto the shoulders of others, but every last pair of eyes is fixed on a single point in the vast circular arena. Helena of the Blue Faction. 23 years old, born into rank and privilege, raised to keep her family's name polished like silver, now reduced to a spectacle. Iron shackles clamp her wrists together in front of her. Iron cuffs bite into the thin bones of her ankles. The chain between them is short by design, short enough that she cannot stand, cannot turn, cannot even shift her position more than a few inches without the chain yanking her back down into the sand. The posture is intentional. Low, exposed, humiliating. The sand beneath her burns, not metaphorically, truly burns. Each grain feels like a tiny coal pressed into her knees. She has knelt here long enough that the pain has dissolved into a strange numbness. It no longer feels sharp. It feels like something happening to someone else. Someone who is very far away from her body. Someone she can observe but cannot save. Noise surrounds her, never stopping, never thinning. It rolls like a living ocean. People shout. They laugh. They call out bets. They argue across the rows. They trade rumors about what Helena supposedly did to deserve this. Helena doesn't know what story they were told. She doesn't know what lies were whispered into the emperor's ear. She doesn't even know if her name was listed among the accused, because she wasn't given charges. No trial, no questioning, no explanation. Just one command: kneel and do not move. Then the sound changes. Metal grinds against stone behind her. Slow, heavy, deliberate. A gate slides open. Voices echo from a dark corridor. Handlers shout commands she cannot fully understand. Hooves strike the stone floor with a metallic clatter, then soften into deep, muffled thuds as they reach the sand-covered arena. The crowd reacts immediately. Cheers erupt like a sudden storm. Helena twists as far as the chain allows, only a few painful degrees. She cannot truly see. She can only catch fragments. Dust swirling upward, shadows shifting, something massive moving behind her. Then she hears it breathe. A low, rough, heavy exhale. The breath of a bull. The knowledge hits her like a blow to the chest. They have brought an animal into the arena. Not just any animal, a bull bred for strength and intimidation. This is not a random cruelty. This is a message. The handlers keep the bull at a controlled pace. They guide it with ropes and poles, preventing a charge. They do not want chaos. They want precision. They want the audience to anticipate instead of witness. Helena hears the weight of the bull's body shift. She hears its nostrils flare, drawing in the scent of sand, sweat, and fear. She feels the faint tremor beneath her knees every time its hoof presses into the earth. The chanting begins. Not her name. Never her name. They chant for the moment, for the spectacle, for the tension that squeezes their throats. Helena struggles to breathe. Her hands tremble against the chain. Her shoulders shake. Her throat feels too tight. She tries to imagine someone, anyone, she knows in the stands. Her father, her brother, women she once shared embroidered cushions with in summer courtyards, men who toasted her family's fortunes at feasts. Are they here? Are they turning away? Or are they leaning forward like the rest, consumed by the same hunger? The bull moves closer. Helena can hear every breath now. She can almost feel it. The heat, the size, the certainty that if it rushes forward, nothing, absolutely nothing, can save her. Someone shouts her name from the stands. The voice is not warm. It is mocking. It is thrown like a stone. Helena lowers her head, unable to meet the stadium's massive, hungry gaze. She thinks she is here to die. She believes this is the end of her physical life. She does not know, cannot know, that the men in the high-shaded imperial box above did not bring her here to kill her body. They brought her here to kill her standing, to kill her future, to kill whatever influence she might have carried as a noblewoman of the blues. She does not know that weeks earlier others had already died here. She does not know that she is being used as a tool, as a symbol, as an example meant to travel through the city like smoke. She only knows terror. The bull moves behind her now, so close the air shifts. She feels its breath dampen the back of her neck. Its presence is enormous, animal, unthinking. And none of the guards move to protect her. Because they are not meant to. This is not a failure of the system. It is the system. To understand why Helena is kneeling here, you have to understand the Hippodrome's true purpose. The Hippodrome was not simply an arena. It was the city's beating political heart. On the surface, it was entertainment, chariot races, colored banners, roaring crowds, but underneath the sand were corridors, holding cells, secret tunnels, detention rooms, an entire underground network built to move prisoners and enemies without the public seeing. The emperor did not come here for the sport. He came to read the city, the blues on one side, the greens on the other. Your seat, your cheers, your colors, all revealed your political loyalties. The Hippodrome could turn a citizen into an enemy in a heartbeat. It could turn a chant into a riot. It could turn a riot into a massacre. And in the year 532 it did exactly that. It broke. Taxes were rising. Tension was growing. The blues and greens enemies for decades suddenly shouted the same word. Nika. Victory. But not victory on the track. Victory against Justinian. The emperor sealed the gates. He trapped tens of thousands inside the arena like animals in a cage. And then he sent in his general, Belisarius. 3,000 soldiers, shields, swords, spears, no escape. By nightfall, between 25 and 35,000 citizens were dead. The sand ran red. Bodies were stacked in the stands. The Hippodrome became a grave, a warning, a memory carved into the city's bones. Helena grew up hearing whispers of that day, whispers meant to keep her obedient, silent, far away from politics. It did not work. Now she kneels on the same sand where thousands died, her fate crafted by a system older and larger than she will ever be. The bull shifts again. The crowd leans forward. Her heart hammers in her chest until she thinks it will tear. Her scream slices through the arena, but it is swallowed instantly by the roar of 50,000 voices. The bull never touches her. It was never meant to. What they wanted was the scream. What they wanted was the moment she broke. Above her, in the imperial box, the men watching give a signal. The handlers pull the bull away. The hooves recede into the darkness beyond the gate. The sound changes. The energy changes. Some in the crowd laugh in relief. Some jeer in frustration. Some fall uncomfortably quiet. Helena collapses forward into the sand, alive, breathing, unharmed in body. But something inside her, something the Empire wanted to kill, has been shattered. She is dragged away in chains. Her exile is quick. Her death follows soon after. Her name will never again hold the weight it once did. As far as the Empire is concerned, the part of her that mattered died here today. The air beneath the Hippodrome is colder than anyone above would ever imagine. The sun may set the arena floor on fire, but under the stands, in the stone passages carved long before Helena was born, the temperature drops into something that feels like a different world. A world made of damp brick, narrow corridors, and the smell of unwashed cloth, mold, and fear. This is where Helena is dragged after her collapse, her body still trembling, her throat raw from the scream she could not hold in. The guards do not speak to her. They do not even look at her as a person. They grip her arms like handles on an object, propelling her down the passageway while her shackles scrape the stone. Each scrape echoes. Each echo multiplies, bouncing off walls carved to carry sound upward, toward the arena, toward the crowd. The Hippodrome was designed to broadcast spectacle, even under the earth. Helena's breaths come in bursts. The shaking hasn't stopped. Her vision flickers at the edges. She cannot tell whether the shadows moving in the corners are real or tricks of her failing strength. Somewhere nearby, water drips rhythmically from a crack in the ceiling. It feels like a clock marking the moments of her descent into whatever awaits. They stop in a narrow chamber lit by one oil lamp. The flame is small, swaying in the draft that creeps through the cracks of the walls, but it still manages to throw Helena's shadow across the floor. Long, bent, broken. The guards push her down. She lands hard. Pain streaks through her elbows and shoulders. No questions are asked. No sentence is read. She understands now that her performance in the arena was the true judgment. Whether she fell to her knees or stayed upright no longer matters. The bull, the crowd, the scream, those were her trial. Whatever comes next is merely procedure. Her chains are not removed. The guards only shorten them, fixing the metal rings into an iron hook embedded deep into the wall. The hook is old, rusted, stained by years of previous occupants. Helena imagines hands pulling against the chain, skin burning, wrists tearing. She imagines how many women knelt here, bound like she is now, waiting for men above to decide when their existence would be erased from official memory. The guards walk out. Their footsteps fade, then vanish. The door closes with a muffled thud. Helena is alone. She listens to the new silence, trying to understand its meaning. Silence in a place like this is not peace. It is a threat wearing a quiet mask. It is the space in which fear grows teeth. Time stretches in unnatural ways. Minutes feel like hours, hours like days. The body is trapped, but the mind runs wild. Her thoughts drift backwards, to her home, to the quiet rhythm of embroidered cloth on her fingertips, to the smell of bread rising in her family's courtyard, to her mother's voice warning her not to get too close to faction politics. But what made her dangerous was not action. It was lineage, name, association. It was enough. She wonders whether anyone in her household knows where she is, whether they have been told a sanitized version of events, whether they have been warned to keep silent. That is how the Empire works. Cut the root before the rumor grows. Footsteps return eventually. Soft ones this time, not the heavy boots of military guards. A single figure enters holding a wax tablet. He wears the simple clothes of a court scribe. His expression is blank, practiced. The expression of a man who has mastered the art of looking at suffering without ever acknowledging it. He does not bow. He does not explain. He only asks Helena's name. She answers. Her voice cracks. The scribe writes it down without emotion. Then he asks for her father's name, her mother's, her brother's, her extended kin, their faction ties, their properties, their connections to other families, their donations to political leaders, their past opinions about taxation, their attendance at races, their seating patterns in the Hippodrome. Helena answers because she can do nothing else. Every answer feels like a thread being pulled from her life, one by one, until everything she ever was becomes a list in the hands of a stranger. When the scribe finishes, he does not comfort her. He only nods as if completing a simple inventory. He steps out of the room. The door closes again. She hears his footsteps fading. The silence returns. This silence lasts longer than the first. When the door opens a second time, the guards do not enter to torture or strike her. They only unlock the chain from the wall and pull her to her feet. Her legs tremble so violently she almost collapses. They don't help her. They don't slow down. They simply drag her forward, up a narrow staircase, lifting her body only when she becomes too weak to lift herself. The passageway opens into the blinding brightness of afternoon. Helena squints. Her eyes burn. For a moment she believes she is being taken back into the arena, back to the sand, where fear swallowed her whole. Instead, the guards lead her through a side gate used to move chariots, not people. They push her into a covered cart. The canvas flap falls shut behind her, swallowing the light. The cart begins to move. Helena cannot see where she is going, but the rhythm of the wheels tells her everything she needs to know. They are leaving the city. The road slopes downward, then curves around one of the outer walls. The city's heartbeat grows quieter. The last familiar sound disappears behind her. She is being exiled. Not publicly, not ceremonially, quietly, efficiently, as if she is a burden being removed, a stain being washed out, a risk being contained. She does not know if exile will be temporary or permanent. In truth, neither do the men who ordered it. Exile in the empire is often a pause before erasure. A life can end in a remote village as effectively as on a scaffold. Distance performs the same function as punishment. It removes the person from the map of relevance. Inside the cart, Helena curls into the smallest form her chains allow. Her body aches. The dust from the road gathers in her hair and throat. Every bump in the path sends a jolt through her joints. She bites her lip to stay in control. Hours pass. Then night. Then morning. Then another night. Helena does not count the days. There is nothing to count them against. When the cart finally stops, she is pulled into a small settlement far from Constantinople. A place without marble, without courts, without politics. The dwelling she is placed in is little more than a cabin. Someone leaves water and bread. No one speaks to her. Weeks pass. Her chain is eventually removed, but the weight of it remains in her wrists, an echo that never fades. Children stare at her from a distance, but never come close. Adults look at her with a mixture of pity and fear. She is a ghost of the Hippodrome now, a figure people sense is marked by something too dangerous to ask about. Her health declines slowly. Not dramatically, not violently, just a quiet fading. Her appetite weakens. Her sleep fractures. Her strength drains. Fear carved something out of her that cannot be restored. One morning, she does not rise from her bed. Her breath is shallow. Her pulse thin. No physician comes. No priest. No family. Helena dies before reaching her 30th year. Officially, she dies of illness. Unofficially, she dies the moment she knelt in the arena. The empire does not record her name in the Chronicles. It does not list her among political enemies. It does not blame her for rebellion. It simply lets her disappear. Her story passes through whispers, quiet ones, traded among women, told to warn daughters not to speak out of turn, not to attend the wrong gathering, not to be seen supporting the wrong faction. She becomes a legend without glory, a warning without a grave. Meanwhile, the Hippodrome continues its work. The crowds keep coming. The chariots keep racing. New prisoners take her place. New examples are made. Power continues its performance. Centuries later, tourists walk the ruins, unaware that the stones beneath their feet once held screams that were never written down. They see the columns, the fountains, the traces of imperial architecture. They smile for photographs. They read plaques, speak of sport, of culture, of the past. But the arena remembers everything. It remembers Helena kneeling. It remembers the bull's breath. It remembers the scream that broke her life in two. It remembers the men in the shaded box, watching not for blood, but for obedience. It remembers the crowds rising like a living tide, drinking in the humiliation offered to them. Empires do not need to kill bodies to kill people. They only need to kill identity. And the Hippodrome was the perfect machine for that. Helena's story fades with time, but the pattern that destroyed her does not. It appears again and again in different ages, different nations, different languages. Whenever power decides that fear is more efficient than justice, that spectacle is more profitable than truth, that a crowd is easier to manipulate when given someone to watch, someone to mock, someone to break. The empire survives by teaching the same lesson over and over. Stand up, and we will kneel you. Speak, and we will silence you. Belong to the wrong people, and we will unmake you in front of them. Helena learned that lesson too late. But you, hearing her story now, do not have to.